The alien neighbor approached me and said, "Come to my room after everyone falls asleep." Human. Signal in the dark. Dr. Marcus Chen had been stationed at Harmony Colony for 6 months, yet the corridor outside his quarters still felt alien beneath his feet. The metallic halls hummed with recycled air and distant machinery, a constant reminder that home was several light-years away. His research into xenobiology kept him busy during standard hours, but the nights stretched long and lonely in the artificial darkness of the station's sleep cycle. It was during one of these restless nights that he first noticed her, Lirelei, his Celestian neighbor. She moved through the shadows like liquid moonlight, her pale violet skin seeming to absorb and reflect the dim emergency lighting. Her silver-streaked indigo hair floated around her shoulders as if suspended in water, defying the station's artificial gravity. Marcus had exchanged polite nods with her in passing, but they'd never spoken beyond basic pleasantries. The Celestians were known for their reserved nature, preferring solitude to the boisterous gatherings of humans and other species aboard Harmony. Yet something about Lirelei drew his attention. Perhaps it was the way she paused outside his door sometimes, as if listening, or how her luminous amber eyes seemed to hold unspoken questions when their gazes met. His instruments had been picking up unusual energy signatures from her quarters, nothing dangerous, just intriguing. Bioelectric patterns unlike anything in his database, pulsing in rhythms that seemed almost musical. He'd considered filing a report, but something held him back. Scientific curiosity, he told himself, though he knew it was more than that. 3 nights ago, everything changed. Marcus was returning from a late session in the lab when he found Lirelei waiting in the maintenance corridor, a route few people used. The overhead lights had been dimmed to almost nothing, and in the darkness, her skin emanated a subtle glow he'd never noticed before. "Dr. Chen," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that made his chest resonate strangely. "I've been observing you." Hello, Lirelei." He fumbled for words, suddenly aware of how her presence seemed to charge the air between them. She stepped closer, and he caught her scent, like ozone and starflowers, utterly unlike anything terrestrial. "Your research into interspecies biology, it's quite fascinating. But there are things about my people that no database could teach you." Her hand brushed his arm, and he felt a tingling sensation, as if electricity danced beneath her fingertips. "Come to my quarters tomorrow night," she whispered, "after the colony sleeps. There's something I wish to share with you." Behind sealed doors. The engineering bay door sealed with a soft hiss behind them, and Marcus heard the distinctive click of security protocols engaging. He glanced up from where he'd already begun examining the navigation core's housing, finding Lirelei standing by the control panel, her slender fingers resting on the lock mechanism. "Security protocol," she explained, though her voice carried a note of something else, perhaps embarrassment or anticipation. "With the crew gone, the ship requires royal presence for any critical system repairs." Marcus nodded slowly, trying to ignore how the locked door made the spacious engineering bay feel suddenly intimate. "I understand. Though usually, royalty doesn't stay to watch repairs." "I'm not usual royalty," Lirelei replied, settling gracefully onto a nearby observation bench. The way she tucked her legs beneath her gown and leaned forward slightly suggested genuine interest rather than mere obligation. As Marcus worked, removing panels and tracing connection paths, he felt her presence like gentle starlight on his skin. "You're very focused," she observed after several minutes of silence. "It's a complex system," Marcus replied, his hands steady despite his awareness of her. "Stellarian technology integrates consciousness-responsive elements. It's beautiful but delicate." He paused, glancing at her. "Like many things from your world." A soft smile played at her lips, and she moved closer, her dress whispering against the floor. "You've studied our technology extensively. That's unusual for a human engineer." "I've always been drawn to puzzles," Marcus admitted, carefully extracting a crystalline component. "And your people create the most elegant puzzles in the galaxy." He held up the component, its surface reflecting rainbow patterns. "This resonance chamber, for instance, it's pure poetry in crystal form." Lirelei knelt beside him, close enough that he could smell her perfume, something like ozone and jasmine. "My grandmother designed that component," she said softly. "She believed technology should be both functional and beautiful." Their eyes met over the delicate crystal, and Marcus felt the air charge between them. Her hand moved toward the component, her fingers briefly brushing his. The touch sent electricity through him that had nothing to do with the engineering systems. "Tell me," she said, not pulling away, "what made a human dedicate himself to understanding alien technology?" Marcus felt himself drawn into her sapphire gaze. Sometimes the most beautiful things come from reaching across the vast spaces between worlds. Stellar confessions. Marcus frowned as he examined the final diagnostic readings. The navigation core's failure pattern was too precise, too surgical to be accidental. Each disabled component had been carefully selected to cripple the ship without causing actual danger. He looked up to find Lirelei watching him with an unreadable expression. "You've figured it out," she said quietly, not a question but a statement. "This was deliberate," Marcus said, setting down his tools. "Someone with intimate knowledge of Stellarian systems did this. Someone with override codes." His eyes searched hers. "Why?" Lirelei rose gracefully, moving to the bay's small viewport where stars glittered like scattered diamonds. Her reflection overlapped with the cosmos, making her appear part of the stellar tapestry itself. "Have you ever felt trapped by destiny, Marcus?" He stood, drawn toward her despite his confusion. "Your Highness." "Lirelei," she corrected softly. "Just Lirelei." She turned to face him, vulnerability replacing her usual regal composure. "I've heard about you for months. The human engineer who restored the ancient Stellarian beacon on Proxima Station. Who speaks our technical language better than most of our own engineers." She took a breath that made her shimmer. "I needed to meet you, but royal protocols, diplomatic channels, they would have taken years." Marcus's heart raced as understanding dawned. "You sabotaged your own ship." "I gave myself a problem only you could solve," she admitted, color deepening across her lavender cheeks. "Perhaps it was foolish, but I've spent my life surrounded by those who see only my crown. I wanted to meet someone who might see me." The honesty in her voice broke something open in Marcus. "I do see you," he said, stepping closer. "I have since the moment you stood in that doorway." Lirelei's hand reached out, fingertips touching his chest where his heart hammered. "Your heart beats so strong," she whispered. "Ours flutter like butterfly wings. Another difference between our species, yet." She looked up at him. "Yet somehow, when you look at me, the differences seem to fade. Would you like to know a secret?" Marcus asked, covering her hand with his. "I could have fixed your navigation in half the time. But I wanted to stay here, with you, in this moment." She laughed, a sound like crystal bells in a gentle breeze. "Then we're both guilty of deception." "The best kind," Marcus agreed, drawing her closer. "The kind that leads to truth." "Dancing among stars." "Come," Lirelei whispered, her fingers intertwining with Marcus's as she led him from the engineering bay. "I want to show you something no human has ever seen." They moved through corridors that grew progressively more beautiful, until they reached a door marked with swirling Stellarian script. Lirelei pressed her palm against it, and it dissolved like morning mist. Beyond lay a chamber that stole Marcus's breath. The room was a living constellation. Holographic stars floated at various heights, each pulsing with its own rhythm and color. Nebulae drifted slowly through the space, and when Marcus stepped forward, his movement sent ripples through the cosmic display like disturbing the surface of a luminous pond. "My private stellar garden," Lirelei explained, her voice soft with reverence. "Each star represents a moment in my life worth remembering." She pointed to a bright blue giant near the center. "That's the day I first flew alone." Her finger traced to a binary system spinning slowly near the window. "When my sister was born." "It's incredible," Marcus breathed, watching galaxies swirl around them. Like standing inside a living universe. Music began to play, something otherworldly yet deeply moving, notes that seemed to resonate in his chest. Lirelei turned to him, her gown creating new constellations as it moved. "In my culture, we have a tradition. When you trust someone completely, you dance with them among your memories." She stepped into his arms, and Marcus discovered that despite their different worlds, their bodies found a natural rhythm together. Her hand in his felt cool and smooth like polished stone warmed by starlight. They moved through the holographic cosmos, stars parting and reforming around them. "Tell me about Earth," she murmured against his shoulder. "About rain and oceans and the feeling of sun on your skin." As they swayed, Marcus painted pictures with words: summer thunderstorms, ocean waves at sunset, the smell of coffee in the morning. With each description, Liralay's hold on him tightened, as if she could absorb these experiences through proximity. "I've never felt rain," she admitted. "My world has crystal storms, but no water falling from the sky." "Then I'll show you," Marcus promised, lifting her chin. "Someday." The distance between them evaporated like stellar dust. When their lips met, it was soft as nebula clouds colliding, electric as binary stars dancing. Marcus tasted starlight and eternity, while Liralay discovered warmth she'd never known existed. Dawn of understanding. The observation deck's transparent ceiling revealed the slow dance of dawn across the cosmic canvas, not a planetary sunrise, but the gradual awakening of a nearby star cluster that marked the passage of time in deep space. Marcus stood with Liralay, her hand still in his, both knowing that reality was approaching with the light. "Your ship is repaired," Marcus said quietly, though neither had mentioned it for hours. "Your navigation will come online within the hour." "And then?" Liralay's voice carried a weight that had nothing to do with her royal status. "You return to your workshop, I to my duties." Marcus turned to face her fully, memorizing every detail, the way starlight caught in her silver hair, how her sapphire eyes held depths greater than any ocean. "Is that what you want?" "What I want and what's expected of me have never aligned," she replied, her free hand reaching up to touch his face. "But last night, you showed me they could." "Liralay." "My court needs a master engineer," she interrupted, her words tumbling out like meteors. "Someone who understands both Stellarian and human technology. The position comes with diplomatic status, quarters on the royal station, and—" She paused, vulnerability flickering across her features, "proximity to me." Marcus felt his world tilt on its axis. "You're offering me a job." "I'm offering you a life," she corrected. "One where every day brings new puzzles to solve, where the boundaries between our species become bridges instead of walls." Her fingers traced along his jaw. "Where what started with a clever deception becomes something real. Your people will adjust. Change comes slowly to the Stellarian Empire, but it comes." She smiled, and in it, Marcus saw galaxies of possibility. Besides, who better to maintain the royal fleet than the engineer who captured their princess's heart? Marcus pulled her close, feeling her heartbeat flutter against his chest like she'd described, butterfly wings in a garden of stars. "You had me at emergency signal," he admitted, earning her crystalline laugh. "Then you'll stay." Instead of answering with words, Marcus kissed her again, pouring his answer into the connection between them. Around them, the stellar garden responded to their joy, stars pulsing brighter, nebulae swirling in celebration. When they finally parted, the navigation console chimed its readiness. But neither moved toward it. They had all the time in the universe now, and their journey was just beginning. "So," Marcus said with a grin, "should I teach you about rain first, or would you prefer to start with snow?" Liralay's laugh echoed through the chamber like a new star being born. "Surprise me, my clever engineer. Surprise me." 1. Authenticity attracts genuine connection. Liralay's elaborate plan to meet Marcus stemmed from her desire to be seen as herself, not just as royalty. When we present our true selves rather than our titles or roles, we create space for meaningful connections. 2. Taking calculated risks for love. Sometimes achieving what we truly want requires stepping outside conventional boundaries. Liralay risked her reputation and safety by creating a scenario to meet Marcus, showing that meaningful connections sometimes require bold action. 3. Expertise and passion are attractive. Marcus's dedication to understanding alien technology, going beyond his own culture's limitations, made him unique and valuable. Mastery and genuine curiosity in any field can open unexpected doors. 4. Vulnerability strengthens bonds. Both characters revealed their deceptions and true feelings, making themselves vulnerable. These moments of honesty transformed a professional encounter into a deep personal connection. 5. Cultural differences can be bridges, not barriers. Rather than letting their different species and worlds separate them, Marcus and Lirelei found beauty in their differences. Each brought unique perspectives that enriched the other's life. 6. Time and presence matter more than efficiency. Marcus admitted he could have fixed the ship faster but chose to extend the moment. Sometimes slowing down and being present creates space for unexpected magic. 7. Trust must be earned and offered. Lirelei's tradition of dancing among her memories with someone she trusts completely shows that deep relationships require both earning and offering trust. 8. Love requires sacrifice and compromise. Marcus had to leave his established life and workshop behind, while Lirelei had to challenge royal expectations. True connection often requires both parties to adjust their lives. 9. Creating opportunities versus waiting for fate. Rather than waiting for diplomatic channels or chance encounters, Lirelei created her own opportunity. We often have more agency in our romantic lives than we realize. 10. The power of shared wonder. Their exchange about rain and crystal storms shows how sharing our unique experiences and perspectives with someone who genuinely wants to understand creates intimacy and wonder in relationships.